Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, thank you. I'm so
All
sorry,
right.
Elvin.
No worries. No worries. You good. You good. Um. That's right, y'all. Where's my damn podcast? We in this bitch.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Oh my
Heck,
gosh.
heck yeah, heck yeah. I'm glad. I'm excited. I'm excited. This is gonna be fun. First and foremost, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. Shouts out to everyone that's checking out the program. Heck yeah, man. We're doing this. Finally, episode 49.
Damn.
It's been a minute. I've been on a little hiatus, but we're back. We're back, y'all. Where's my damn podcast? And yeah, I got a very special guest, y'all. Just did a show over the weekend in San Francisco with the Hella Funny crew, Hella Funny Asian show. Very funny comedian, talented comedian from San Jose, out of the South Bay. Hey, let's give it up for the one and only PX Floro.
Woo woo. Thank you so much. They're probably like, who is that dude that's
I
with
was just
Elvin? Yeah.
what, sir? What?
Yeah. Eh, I like, especially early in the morning, not early, but in the morning, my voice has more bass to it. So um
Hold up, wait a minute.
yeah, they're just like, who is this? Why is she a robot? Is she an
Right.
AI? Yeah.
No, that's dope. That's funny because actually, in one of your bits, you talk about that. I thought that was really dope that you were able to kind of poke fun at yourself, and that was actually pretty funny.
That's I feel like that's my thing. Like self-deprecation is so much more easier. Like I don't like roasting people. Like unless they start talking, then obviously you're like, oh, I'm gonna go after that person because they're talking, like during my set or like trying to like help.
Right, right. Hey,
But
no, that's funny that you brought that up because I was gonna ask you about that. Um, someone actually heckled me. I don't know if you heard it or you caught wind of it at the first show. Because I was talking about the whole Chris Rock
oh yeah, yeah,
situation.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're gonna get that to real quick. um,
I
but
do
yeah.
remember.
But yeah, man. PX is from San Jose. PX. We're just gonna go all over the place, and I don't want to ask you like standard comedy question. I mean, I'll ask you some comedy questions, but yeah, we're gonna break it down. We're gonna break it down for everybody. So real quick, let's set it up for everybody that's out there that's listening. So we did two shows. It was incredible shows. The first show was like packed out, 170 people. Second show about 50 people, which was still pretty cool too. But 170 people, that was pretty amazing. That was crazy.
It was a pretty lit show, but I actually wanted to ask you a question. Between the two shows, which set did you like best? Because that's how I met Elvin. I actually met him
Yeah.
at this show. I've never seen Elvin. I haven't seen Elvin before, and so when I saw your set, first and second show, I was like, "Damn, this guy's fire." But
No,
I
thanks.
wanted to know, in your opinion, because I had a favorite set between the two, and I was kind of curious, what was your better set?
Oh, you know what? Yeah, no, that's a good question. I I just want to maybe say maybe the first set, just
The first one,
because.
because it's the bigger crowd, right?
Yeah,
Bigger
yeah,
laughs. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. On my second set, I changed up a couple of bits, changed things around, but yeah, no, I had fun with both. That was awesome. But to answer your question, I would say the first one.
Yeah, see, and I liked my second one because I had more time. You know what I mean? So I felt more comfortable. But then some of the jokes that I used on my first set, and I forgot to put it on my second set. I was like, damn it, I forgot these. Oh well, whatever.
Right, right.
But it was a
And
great show overall. Fucking hands down, Crazy Funny Asians, hella funny. They produce the most amazing shows out there in the city.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about them in a little bit too. That's it's cool working with them.
Yeah, they're cool.
And but yeah, you know what? That's interesting because PX, she ended up headlining the second show, and you just mentioned that you had a little bit more wiggle room as far as like throwing in extra material or expanding on maybe certain jokes that you didn't do in the first one. And interesting thing about headlining, like you can play with a lot more when you're given more time. Uh, uh, uh,
Right.
I believe.
More crowd, you can do more crowd work, you know what I mean? Like you can kind of do more jokes, you can also do a little bit more crowd work just to kind of get more comfortable with the audience.
Yeah, yeah. And like you said, more relaxed, get comfortable.
Yeah, you're not
Yeah,
rushed, you
yeah,
don't feel
yeah.
rushed.
Heck yeah. And all right, let's set this up. Let's set this up because I was thinking about this over the weekend, and I was looking at the footage, and it was my first time seeing you too. I really enjoyed your stuff. It was good to network and just tap in with you and shit. Um,
Especially
and
we're both Filipino.
yeah, Filipino.
Bro, like you have no idea how hard it is growing up Filipino, man. Like just meeting like other comics that are Filipino. There's not like too many of us. But
Yeah,
when we
yeah.
do, we're like, whoa, you're Filipino, I'm Filipino, but we don't speak the same dialect.
I
Fuck.
know. Oh man, that's the same shit when like when my parent anytime my parents or back in the day when they see other Filipinos, oh you Filipino, oh my god,
And
it's
then they turn around, we're like, oh, we ain't the same type of Filipino.
yeah.
Okay, bye. We'll still go to your family parties though. There
Right,
you go.
right, right. Um, okay, yeah, yeah. And so let's set this up. So during my first set, I think it was like in the middle of the set, and I was talking about the Chris Rock, just a different angle. I wasn't really talking about the slap per se, just a different angle and twist to it. And out of like if you were standing on the stage, which I was, and like off to the right, and like I could hear some chatter.
Oh,
And I was like, what? Like, okay, like, okay, y'all ain't feeling it, or but I powered through the bit. I finished it in a sense, and then here was the kicker. Like, so I finished it, and then I still heard a little bit more chatter, and on the tape, on the footage that I have, I hear a little boo, like, oh, boo,
shut
and
up.
then it's like, oh, fuck around and find out. And that's why I don't know if you heard me say, what, y'all want to jump me? Come through.
Yeah.
Like shit. And then that's when like I improvised and pulled out the whole like my cane, pretending it to be like a nunchuck,
Yeah.
and then the crowd went nuts.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Of
yeah. And
course.
then and I'm like, and this, and again, keep in mind, 170 people. Usually, when because a lot of comics, they deal with this. People get hecklers. Um, I've gotten heckled. Like maybe in a crowd of I don't know 30, 40 people, or even less. But 170 people, and I was like, at this moment, I was thinking to myself, do I just ignore it and go on to my next joke? And just let it be. But I was like, all
Nah.
right, I'm gonna go in. I was like, I wasn't gonna
Yo,
let this
I'm from
slide.
Stockton, fool.
I know, yeah, bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then so I did the whole pulling out the cane and the whole make it look like a nunchuck and um and I added a couple more lines after that, and I at the same time, I felt kind of good. I was like, all right, it's like okay, y'all want to heckle me, but shit, you can't do shit. So,
See, and you know what I was gonna say? Like the way I was interpreting it, like, so did you hear the boo live or did you hear the boo in the recording?
um, I don't remember it during live, but I, I
You
I
could hear it in
even
the recording.
I heard it in the I even posted it on the reel on my Facebook. I even posted it up.
Well,
Like,
I gotta watch that only because I didn't hear boo, but the only thing I'm thinking why maybe because I don't know. Like I said, sometimes it's what do you call that? Interpretation. And I noticed that like when you did the Chris Rock, maybe they were saying boo. I don't know, right? Because I'm not that audience member, but I was under the impression when they're saying boo, they're not saying boo to you. They were saying boo to like the situation of Chris Rock. But I
mhm.
don't know. I gotta listen to that audio. So I'm gonna do a little homework and
Yeah,
listen to
yeah,
it. But you
yeah,
recovered. That was the dope part. Like the
yeah.
recovery, it's all about recovering as a comedian,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah,
Being able to
exactly.
fucking bounce back and be like, wait a minute, you want to jump my ass? So I
Yeah,
loved how you did that shit. Because
yeah.
let's say that is what they were doing. They were fucking heckling. It's like, boom, you got it. And let's say they weren't heckling. They're like, fuck, I'm never going to do that shit again. Like, like that guy
Right.
got me, man.
Yeah, yeah. Exactly. Yeah, and it sounded like it was like a couple. I don't know if they were at the same table. Like it was a girl and a guy.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, yeah. Cause like I said, on the recording, you can hear the like I said, there was some chitter chatter. Then like towards the end, before I did that whole thing, I heard the girl say boo, and then the guy said at the same time too. It was like, fuck around and find out, and I was like,
I'm sorry. I
yeah.
won't do that again to you, Elvin.
And I was like, oh hell no,
No,
like
that's
yeah.
fucked up. That's hella funny though. I gotta. Did you post that on your reel on like on Instagram
Yeah,
or Facebook?
it's on Facebook on the real Facebook.
Okay, cool.
It's
I
up
gotta
up
check it
there.
out. I
Yeah,
gotta
yeah.
check that out.
E-
That's
e-
I didn't
Even
hear that.
yeah, even Joanne commented on it. She made a comment on it. I was
That's
like,
hilarious.
yeah.
That's
But
hilarious.
yeah, no, I was like what? Like, are they like not? So my thing was like, okay, was it the joke? Did I offend you?
Yeah,
But you know what I'm saying? I don't care. I don't give a you got offended. Fuck you. I was like,
yeah.
I was just going in. I was like, oh
Because
hell no, you ain't about to heckle me right
yeah,
now.
exactly. And you know what's funny? Because I've heard like I'm not saying your joke, but like I've heard people kind of what do you call that? Reference to the Will Smith and the Chris Rock shit.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
hear people say boo, but when I'm listening, right, and I'm watching, I'm like, oh, they're saying boo about the situation, not the comic. That's why when you said it, I was like, oh, wait, maybe they were booing you, but you have the recording, That's why I'm like, oh, I gotta watch that shit later. And then I'm
yeah,
on fucking but then
yeah.
I like the
No,
recovery. That was my favorite part.
no, I appreciate that. But you know, you do have a point too. So like it could have been the situation.
Right, 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 right.
I don't know,
But
but
we don't know. But you did great.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And you didn't get jumped.
Yeah, I know, right? That would have been a different story.
I'd be like, so next time on Where's My Damn Podcast?
Yeah, heck yeah. Yeah, yeah. No, that was a trip. That was a trip. It was a little tense there for a second, but I was like, all right, I ain't about to get punked right now. So,
Well, I had to ask you. I was wondering this since the day of the show. How do you know when you get the light?
um, yeah, no, that's a good question. A lot of people ask me that. I'll either tell the host,
Yeah.
like, give me a verbal signal.
Oh,
That's kind of my how a lot of people give me the light
so are
is
they like on the side of you and then they're like
yeah,
1 minute
yeah,
and you can hear
yeah,
it? Oh, dope, dope,
exactly,
dope, 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 dope.
exactly.
I'm surprised
Yeah,
like Apple doesn't have like a vibration timer where it vibrates and be like, oh, you got 10 minutes. You did 10 minutes.
you know what? No, that's a good point too. People would think that maybe I can maybe use that, but I don't know. I think
I didn't even
it,
notice that they lighted you. That's why I was like, when you got off, I was like, how'd they light him? Like,
yeah.
so for your listeners, I don't know if they know, like when comics go up on stage, there's the host or whoever is keeping track of our time. they'll give us a light, like a flashlight, like they'll
The
hold up their
actual
phone
light,
and
yeah,
wave it, yeah, and wave it
yeah.
in the back. And if it's a small room, it's pretty close, like everyone can see you fucking like the comic.
Right,
But
right.
if it's a big room, like with 175 people, the person in the back is lighting them up. And so like I'm watching Elvin and I'm just like, how the fuck does he know? I was like, that.
And a lot of times too, uh like for I've been doing it for a while now. Like I kind of, it's kind of instinctual. Like,
Right.
okay,
I was gonna say that too. I assume that you knew your bit well enough to where it's like, okay, I know when
yeah,
my 10-minute mark is, I
yeah,
know when my 15. So sometimes you might not even hear them light you. You already
yeah,
know your amount of time.
yeah, pretty
Got it.
much. Yeah, and then what ended up happening was actually Joe was the one that verbally gave me the light. So I he was off to the side, so I was able to, you know, get the
Oh,
audio
that's
cue
dope.
pretty much. Yeah, yeah.
That's
So
dope. I honestly
fun
would
fact.
I would love to hear more about you and Joe because like you guys like when Joe was kind of playing, off of like the CFA and all that stuff. I thought it was
Yeah.
really cool. Like you guys like make such a cool team, and I was like, fuck, that's dope. And when you guys first walked into the show, I recognized you because I was like, okay,
Hmm.
Elvin. I was like, who's
Yeah.
this white guy? And then you guys are and I was like, oh, that makes sense because you're blind. Because I didn't know you couldn't see right when
Right, right.
in the Facebook. I didn't know that. And then
Yeah,
when I saw Joe and you walk in, I was like, oh,
yeah.
okay. And I thought that was fucking dope. And then I saw Joe just like a couple days ago. You guys are fucking awesome, man.
Heck yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's no, he's dope. Joe's amazing. Shouts out to Joe Conyu. He travels and does a lot of open mics, and he'll drive a lot of the people from the Valley, Sacramento and
You
Stockton. Like,
mentioned that. That's
yeah, yeah.
dope. I think they need to do like a network of that because there's a lot of people not in just the Central Valley. I mean, I know it as lazy as it sounds. There's people out in the Bay too. They're like, I need to like carpool or get a ride. And I just think that's so amazing that he's like dedicated to doing stuff like
Yeah.
that for comics. That's so dope. Like,
Yeah,
what a way
and
to do
he
homage.
yeah, no, he's just in it for he loves doing a lot of times he'll just do the open mics. And I mean, if he can get a guest set, it's cool. Like, he appreciates that. But he's just really in it for for the fun of it, because he's old school, and he's been through it all. He's already retired, and he likes other people succeed and
Yeah.
doing their thing.
He's a sweetheart because when I was running an open mic on Monday, the list was like 20 people deep, right?
Yeah.
And he came in with Amy, and I was like, "What's up? You want a set?" I was like, "It'll probably be at the end over here because we're like at 20 people deep right now." He's like, "Nah." He's like, "Honestly, if Amy," because I asked Amy Thompson, shout out to Amy
Yeah,
Thompson,
yeah.
she's from that area. She's like,
Yep, yep.
"Hey, it's my birthday. I came down, and I was like, oh, there's like 20 people." I was like, "It's your fucking birthday, bitch. I'm bumping you." And she was like, "No,
Ah,
I don't want to. No, don't. You don't have to do that." I'm like, "Dude, it's your fucking birthday, bitch. Like,
yeah.
you guys came all the way from Stack." And then she was like, gave her a couple of minutes. She came back. She's like, "All right, I want to do it." And I was like, "Yeah, bitch, I'm
Yeah.
gonna fucking bump your ass." And then
Hell
I
yeah.
asked Joe, I was like, "Dude, I'm happy to bump you too." He's like, "No, no, as long as she gets a set in." And I was like, to me, that was so like such a good like I can't describe the word, but it's like for a comic to be able to like prioritize another comic and be like, "No, it's not about me. It's about this person." Like that
Yeah.
shows
Yeah.
such like I don't know what unity or like kindness in the comedy scene because I'll be honest with you, like I see a lot more like bantering and like shit talking in the comedy scene. So
Oh
when I
yeah,
see
yeah.
something nice like that, I'm like, oh, that really touches my heart. Like
Yeah.
to see
Yeah.
comics do that.
He's the total opposite. Like, yeah, he doesn't he lets the other comics
That's dope.
shine. He's
Yeah,
not
no,
e-
that's freaking dope. That's dope.
yeah.
I love
Yeah.
Joe Kanye. Like you guys, like there's like people you meet in the comedy industry where you're just like, they're fucking dope. They're fucking dope. Like I will fuck with them till the day I die. And then there's people that you see comics and you're like, I don't know about that fucking comic.
For real, for real. Yeah, yeah. Well, here's the thing about our business, because a lot of times, we can't be friends with everybody.
No, you can't. It's
You
just
know.
like work, right? Just like a
Yeah.
regular job. You don't anticipate being friends with your boss, being
Yeah.
friends with your peers. And I fucking hate in the work industry where people are like, oh, they don't like me. And I'm like, who gives a fuck? You're there to fucking work, bitch. Make that
Right.
money. What the fuck are you complaining about? You have a job.
Yeah. Like
So,
dance
so
on that
yeah.
stripper pole, bitch. Nah.
I know. I'm shit. I'm about to start a motherfucking OnlyFans. Like, fuck. I'm
Heck yeah.
unemployed. You know what I mean? Like, everyone's like, don't do it. And I'm like, why? Why? Are you going to fucking pay me $10,000 for a fucking blowjob right now?
Right.
Probably not, like, fuck.
Yeah. No,
I mean, I'm not
Joe
saying I'm
Con.
doing that. I'm not doing that, but
Right.
just to clarify.
Right. But yeah, no, Joe Con, he's the man. And he's like he's one of the cool homies out there that does that kind of thing. And as for me, like you mentioned that we make a perfect team, and he's like one of the rare ones that would roll out there with me. And it's a lot of times it's um if he doesn't roll with me, another comedian would roll with me, or if also my wife will roll out there with me too if she's able to, you know, uh like go with me and stuff if she's not tired from work and all that shit too. So
Right. So
yeah,
you have a
yeah,
handful of like go-to people that will roll with you and shit. Yeah, I don't.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
one of the things I don't mind doing. Like, I don't mind rolling like going far for a show. I just don't like going by myself sometimes. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
Like, it's just like the company, like being able to have that support. I think that's dope that you have that. I mean, like it's automatic.
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. Like man, without them, I can't be like I won't be able to do some of these shows.
Yeah.
So
You'd just be performing in front of your wife.
yeah,
Yeah.
or at some corner somewhere in Stockton.
Yeah.
I
They're
don't
like,
know.
Elvin, what are you doing over there?
I'm waiting for my bus.
Waiting for the crowd to drive through.
Yeah. What would you like to order?
Yeah.
But heck yeah, man. But yeah, no, fun show over the weekend. That was awesome. So, yeah, PX, let's get down to the nooks and crannies here. Um, so, you're originally from the South Bay, San Jose, right?
Yep. I was not born in the Bay Area. I was raised in the Bay Area.
Okay. Okay.
I was actually born in Japan.
All right.
But
Yeah, yeah. Let's break that down. Like, what was your upbringing, and then like how did you get into comedy?
so I was my dad was stationed in Japan, in Okinawa. I was born. They weren't there for that long. So anytime I tell people that I was born in Japan, they were like, "Oh, do you speak Japanese?" I was like, "No,
Right.
I was just
Yeah.
fucking." I was literally manufactured and just distributed. Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wasn't. I wasn't like played with in Japan. You know,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like they didn't get to test out the product in Japan.
Right.
I came here,
Right.
and then when I came here, I just never really felt like I fit in. Like growing up in high school, I was bullied a lot in school too. And then once I got out of high school, and I was always the clown, you know what I mean? Like I was always cracking jokes, I was always doing
Hmm.
impersonations and stuff like that. But I never even knew what comedy was. Like I knew what comedy was, but I never knew what stand-up comedy was, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so as I got older, I got married. I got married right out of college, which I now that I look back, I was like, that fool like totally groomed me. Like I was like, because I was 18 in my first marriage, I was 18 and he was 27 years old.
Okay. Okay.
Right. So I wasn't even 18 when I met the guy, which is now
Wow.
that I'm talking about it, this is the first time I ever talked about it. But I was like, now that I'm talking about it, that's a whole new
Right.
other joke, like that I
Right.
that I can tap into. And then my second marriage, me and my ex-husband, we had two kids, and then we went on a date to go see Aries Spears. I would say shout out to Aries Spears, but he's doing some crazy shit right now. Like and take two.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Check. Yes. Yeah. We're back. We're back.
That was some technical issues. I was like, could you hear me? I wasn't even sure you could hear me. I was
Right.
still
Yeah.
recording.
Yeah. What's up with all this silence? Nah.
I know. See what happens when you put two Filipinos on a podcast? It's just like they're like, how can we fuck this shit up for them? I
For real. But yeah. You were talking
don't know
about
where it cut me off. I don't know where it cut me off, but
y- you were talking about in high school how you got
I was
bullied a
bullied.
lot. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I was bullied a lot in high school, and I never really felt like I fit in anywhere. And so when I got out of high school and went to college, I didn't graduate college. I mean, I look back and I wish I did, but I'm like, nah, fuck that shit. Steve Jobs didn't do it. Mark Zuckerberg didn't do it. I'm not gonna do it either. I mean, I'm not a millionaire, but oh well.
Yeah.
Um, and so uh I just never felt like I fit in. And then I got married my first time. And now that I look back, when I got married my first time, obviously that was a stupid thing. But I was like 18 and this guy was 27 years old. And now that I think about it, I was like, fuck, that fool hella groomed me. But anyways, I
Yeah,
think I'm
yeah.
gonna make that into a fucking joke because I was just like, I didn't even realize it until now, like right at this moment. And then the second marriage, my ex-husband and I, we went on a date, and we saw Aries Spears. And during that time, my other cousin was doing comedy too. So shout out to Squeaks Morales. I was watching her and I watched Aries Spears and I was like, I want to do that one day. And then
Oh shit.
my ex-husband was like, okay, yeah, right, whatever. Well, make a long story short, too late. I was walking out one of those shows one of these days and I saw this thing said SFCC, which is like a comedy college.
Mhm.
And I was like, I got to try that. And I tried it and I was like, I want to do this, but I can't afford it because at the time during my second marriage, I was the working mom. My ex husband was the stay at home dad, which was
Okay.
funny because we lived with my parents. You know what I mean? So, like, and you know how Filipino parents are, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
They're fucking like in your ass, like like
Yeah.
literally, like we're all about your life, like we're here. But they would
Right.
do that Filipino shit where they would fucking talk shit about my ex-husband, then husband, like right in front of him. But it was bad because they would do it in Tagalog, like they would like speak like
Mm.
talk shit in a different language, like
Right.
and be like, why is this ass? And so like the marriage slowly, like everyone would just digging away at this marriage at this point. Like me and my
Mm.
ex-husband weren't doing great. My parents were like, you guys fucking whack. And then he ended up leaving. And so I stopped doing comedy. I started doing comedy while I was married to him. And then I stopped for like a month because I was like, fuck.
What year was this?
This was 2000. I started in 2012.
Oh, okay. All right.
And I think by the time I was going through the divorce, it was like maybe 2013 or 2014, maybe like a year or two after.
Mhm.
Oh no, not even that. Because let's see, we got married in 2008 and then 2012. Oh yeah, fuck. So like that was pretty much comedy. Like ruined my first marriage because that was I mean, second marriage because that's the excuse my ex husband gave me when he left. He was like, I
You
can't
were.
do this anymore. Like you're
You,
a different person since you started doing comedy and some bullshit, right?
whoa. Wow.
Yeah, and he kept trying to say like I was cheating. He's like, "Oh, you're probably out there at night cheating." I was like, "Well, first off, I'm a retired hoe, okay? Like I'm in a committed relationship.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
got children, you know what I mean, to think about. Like my mind wasn't even on that
Right.
spectrum of like wanting to go get dick. It was more like I really want to fucking do comedy and it
Right.
sucked. It fucking broke me thinking like fuck, comedy is what ruined my marriage. And I don't think it was comedy, it was us as a couple is what ruined the marriage.
Oh,
You
okay.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't blame comedy um for that.
Yeah, yeah.
And so for a month when my ex-husband left, I was like, I was fucked up because I used to say like, I don't know what I'm gonna do if if he ever left me, but he
Yeah,
did.
emotions is high at that point. You know,
Yeah, and
you're
and my
vulnerable. Yeah.
my mistake was stopping comedy, right? I'd stopped for a month. That's as long it took me because
Mhm.
I already dealt with depression and anxiety since I was young. I've always had that. I have severe depression, anxiety, and I didn't even realize it until I was in my adult years, which is why I kind of do comedy. It's very therapeutic for me.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
with my
Good point.
ex-husband, right? To me, it's therapeutic. Like I don't do it for the fucking money. I'd love to do it for the money, but I don't do it for the money. I do it one to make people laugh, and two, it's therapeutic for me.
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
and so that was one of my mistakes, but I don't regret it. Like I took that month off to help my marriage, but within that month I was able to find out that it wasn't because of me. It was because he was cheating. That's why he
Ah.
left. And he'll try to throw it like every now and then he'll try to be like, well, I wasn't cheating. Like, we weren't doing anything. And I was like, bitch, you were fucking calling her, text messaging
Uh,
her. You know what I'm saying? Like,
he tried to flip the script.
please don't even try. Like, don't even try. And then they ended up getting together that same fucking
Uh,
year. So, like, from that point, bro, I was fucking fire. You know what I'm saying? Like, you go through something like that, you're like, dude, comedy's in for the long run.
right,
You know what I
right.
mean? It was
Yeah.
there to support me during my marriage. And it's continued to support me after my marriages, you know,
There
and
you,
and I just have this story to tell.
there you
I feel
go.
like
Yeah, you were off and
everyone
running
does.
right there. Yeah,
Oh
you were
yeah,
off and running. Yeah.
oh yeah, dude, I was fucking like doing hella shows, but what I forgot during that time when I was going through that mental trauma and going through that comedy, I forgot I was a parent. So
Hmm.
there were days where I was like doing shows back to back to back, doing mics to just hitting the fucking pavement. And
Yeah,
there were
yeah.
nights I would come home late, and my kids, I was so fortunate and blessed that my parents were there to help me. And
Hmm.
but then I would start hearing it from my kids, and I'd start hearing it from my parents. And like and I started to had to rethink, like, hey, what am I doing? I got to balance this out, because
Right.
again, I was the working mom, and
Yeah,
now I'm a single divorced mom, right?
yeah,
Trying to freaking make it in the comedy industry, and then also trying to support my family.
yeah.
And while I did that, I bought my fucking first home in 2016
Holy shit!
by
What?
myself. Yes, by my fucking self. I mean, it was a mobile home, but I still did that shit by myself.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
hella cheap, like, and everyone's like, you're not gonna make money off of that. I'm like, I'm not trying to make money. Like, I
Hmm.
just want a place for me and my kids.
Yeah.
It was one bedroom, one bath, fucking 400 square feet, like
Right.
really tiny, but it was perfect because my kids at the time were like, 6 and 7 years old. So
Yeah,
they were
yeah,
still little. Like, I had a bunk bed in the master bedroom, like a full size. That was like a full size on the bottom,
yeah.
single on top, and then like we were like, I've never felt so young during my 20s until I
Right.
had kids, because like, what type of fucking adult sleeps on a bunk bed? Like, by choice, right?
Yeah,
Like, it was like, all right, I'll get the top bunk because the bottom bunk was smaller, so the girls would sleep on the bottom,
yeah.
and I would when every time I'd wake up, man, I would be like, why am I so close to the fucking ceiling? Like, why, why?
I got roommates.
Yeah, and then I'm like, oh yeah, it's the kids,
Yeah.
and then during that time, second divorce, I met not met I've always been in touch with my third ex-husband,
Yeah.
which, I mean, he's my best friend. He was my best friend. We've known each other since elementary school. He DJ'd my second wedding.
Yeah.
And like I said, like, my life just has so much comedy in it. Like, I was like, I would be doing a disservice to the community by not telling this fucking story to people, because it's like people's real life. And I feel like that's why big reason why a lot of comedians kind of go into comedy. But what kept me going is just my own personal experiences to life, and then my outlook in it. So when I
Yeah.
got married the third time, right now I'm at fucking, let's see, I'm at like 9 years in of doing comedy.
Hmm.
And that relationship was like fucking crazy. It sucks, because I want to bring awareness to mental abuse, physical abuse. Like, there are victims out there, but don't play the fucking victim all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's
Hmm.
man up, dude. Like, let's, like, with all the trauma that I've been through, it never stopped me from wanting to do what I wanted to do,
There you go.
without stepping on people, because I don't appreciate that either. I don't like people stepping on other people to get to the top. Like, I don't do that. We're gonna walk hand in hand. We're all gonna fucking go up to the top, because
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
a that's why this world is so fucked up. I think there's too much hate. It's not enough love, there's not enough laughter. And my ex-husbands, if they knew they don't go to my shows, obviously. But if they only knew, they'd be like, yeah, either I'm gonna kill this bitch or laugh with this bitch. Like, you know what I
One.
mean?
Yeah. Pick one. Choose one.
Pick one, because this whole crowd, this 175 people,
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
they're laughing with us, and let's laugh together. Like, I
Heck
don't
yeah.
mean to talk shit about them to be like talking shit. It's more of like, it's a joking humor. It's all facts. It's not lies.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's
You know what?
true.
We touched on it earlier in having to perform you know in front of a live audience, and sometimes we get uh heckled and or whatever the case may be. But um, and uh, like at the end of the day, these are just jokes, and we're just trying to be we're trying to entertain you,
Right.
uh, um,
We're
and
not really trying to hurt people's feelings, right?
yeah, yeah,
Like,
and that was kind of like when we were talking earlier about what when I was doing my Chris Rock thing, and like I was like, all right, like these are
yeah.
just jokes. Like what what the fuck are you mad about?
Yeah, yeah. We're all here laughing, people get offended, and that's what I guess I feel like we learned in comedy, right? Like, some of these jokes are gonna offend people. Like,
Yeah,
we already come in with that mentality. It's how they respond with the
yeah,
joke.
exactly.
Like,
Yeah,
are you gonna
you know
slap me?
yeah we kind of told that line a little bit, and maybe there are a handful that cross that line, I guess. But we try to be, you know, we try to be like right there to where we don't go way overboard,
Right.
that kind of thing. But
where
yeah,
where,
yeah,
where comics kind of lose their shit sometimes, because we've seen that, right? We've
yeah,
seen
yeah,
comics lose their, we hear it, we like it's kind of like the slap heard around the world like type of
yeah,
thing, you know what I mean?
yeah,
And I feel like comics, we have a purpose, and it's to make people laugh, and
exactly.
there are comics, I'm not going to say who, but I'm just saying there are comics that can kind of lose their shit. I'm not saying just Bay Area comics. I'm saying like even famous comics,
Yeah,
where you're like, fuck, that guy
yeah,
lost it. There goes
it,
their career. Like,
yeah, yeah. Going back to real quick, uh, uh your relationship and your marriage. I was talking to another comedian. Uh, uh, he was this comedian was doing it for a while. He's still doing it. And his name is Mike Betancourt.
oh yeah, I know Mike
And
Betancourt.
yeah, yeah, and he was talking to me. We were at a show a couple years back, and he was talking about like relationship and keeping the balance, because you mentioned that you thought the was it the second husband, the ex-husband,
Yeah,
he thought that you were out there cheating and stuff.
yeah.
And he was telling me like, yeah, you gotta, when we're doing comedy,
You got to
you
show
gotta,
both.
yeah, you gotta have that balance, and and make sure or tell your partner that, hey, we're not out there fucking around. We
Well,
may be out late, but
but we're not.
we're working.
Right.
If anything, if if we, yeah, we do, because a lot of times we get home late. 12, 1,
Yeah, that's
2,
true.
2 a.m.
And
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 then
that's like clubbing time, right? That's like
yeah,
booty call time, where you're like, what the fuck were you doing out like late at night? Like,
right,
no, really, like I was the last person. I was like second to last. And then when you think about commute and all that other shit, you're like, look,
mm-hmm,
like of course I'm gonna be back late. And it
yeah,
sucked because I took him to shows, and I was like, look, this is what I'm doing. It's like I'm not doing anything bad, but really it was him doing something bad.
yeah,
like
yeah,
that's what it really
yeah.
was.
Come to find out, yeah,
Yeah, and
afterward,
man,
yeah,
like I was balancing shit, like because I didn't hit the pavement until I was going through the divorce. You know what I'm saying?
mm-hmm,
Like I was still doing shows, but I wasn't like grinding hard. I was doing it once a week, if that. Remember, I was the one working. He was the stay-at-home dad, and I
right,
was doing
right,
it once a week. And for him to be like, "You're not the same person," shut the fuck up. Like, what do you
mm-hmm,
mean? Like you tried popping fucking two babies out of your pee-pee hole, and you tell me if
yeah.
you're gonna be the same fucking man that you were.
Yeah, yeah.
They say our cells change like every 7 years. And I'm like, well, technically it's changed twice already. So pretty sure I'm not the same fucking person anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Oh
So
man.
yeah, and that was the end of the second marriage. And the third marriage, married my best friend. And then come to find out, he also was cheater. He was also a fucking cheater. It fucking broke my heart. And now I know marriage just ain't for me, like I'll marry people, but I will not get married. Like I officiate weddings, which is kind of ironic because these people
Hmm.
who have hired me, I personally know them and they know my struggles. They know who I am. They're like, can you marry me and my spouse? And I'm like, are you sure? Are you really sure? Like, I don't want to jinx your shit. But all the
Right.
couples I've married are still together till this day. So
Oh wow.
just FYI, yeah. And
Right.
married people probably like within the past 5 or 6 years. So,
What? Oh
so
shit.
yeah, it's good to know. They hit.
Multi-talented.
I know they hit past my mark. Fuck, like, like you're gonna make it, guys. Like,
How did you get into that? I heard something about that. That um, did you
dude,
get a?
comics are the best people to fucking hire to do that because they make it fun. They really make it fucking fun. Um, but how I got into it is I had a cousin, so shout out to my cousin. He's the Ouchie creator. His name is Elvin Floro. Of course, his name is the same like mine. He it was not only my first wedding, it was also my first gay wedding.
Mm,
So he was like, "Hey, I'm not gonna do it in a traditional church, obviously, right?" And Filipinos are fucking Catholic, dude.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? So he was like, "Can you marry us?" And I was just like, "Fuck yeah, it would be a motherfucking honor." At this point in my life, I was already emceeing like the family parties. Like if people had cotillions and weddings, I was the MC, right? So they're
Hmm.
like, "Fuck it, let have her officiate." And all I did was go online and Google how do I get my officiant license, like
Yeah.
how do I do that? And they're like, pay this, take this, answer these questions, and then we'll mail you the shit. I was
Oh
like,
shit, that's pretty crazy.
yeah, and then bing
Did
bam
it?
boom.
How much did it cost? Do you know?
I think it cost like maybe like $100.
Damn, that's not even bad. That's not
No,
too
and then
bad.
like comics can make money off of this shit because weddings aren't fucking cheap. You know what I mean? And to be able to have that type of ceremony where it's not forgettable, and these people will never forget you. Well, unless they get divorced, but then they'll try to forget you. But like
Yeah.
it's just, and to me, the most humbling experience is just knowing that these people wanted to share their special day with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like with me, part of it. So
Right.
that was
Right.
that was like a bigger payment and everything, and being able to throw some jokes in there. Like the last wedding I officiated, it was my old coworker. I used to work with her, and she wanted to do something special because when people get married, they exchange vows.
Uh huh. Yeah. Yeah.
They're like, we don't want to exchange vows. We want to what is it they wanted to do? They're like, we want our family members to write vows for us.
Ah. Okay.
So then, and she's like, and then we'll read them. And I was like, oh, okay. So then, and I forgot to grab the fucking books while I was on the fucking right there marrying them. I was like, oh, we're doing something a little different. They're gonna do their own the family vows. Shit, I forgot the book. So then I had to like then just stop. And I was like, well, I guess I'll tell some jokes. So I told them little jokes
Right.
while someone brought the books. And then I had both of the books in my hand and I'm reading them. I read like two or three of them and I was like, wait a minute, why the hell am I reading these? You guys read these.
Yeah. Right.
And then they started reading and everyone's laughing, you know what I mean? But it was such, and this just happened in April. So this just happened a couple of months ago. And that's one of the things I love doing. I don't like getting married. I don't like being in weddings. Like don't fucking make me in a bridesmaid, man.
Yeah.
Like don't do that. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm the worst bridesmaid. I'm telling you that, man. I will not go to your fucking bridal showers. I will not go to your bachelorette party. Like I've told all my homegirls who put
Yeah.
me in fucking weddings right off the bat. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, you're seeing someone. If you guys ever get married, like I don't do weddings, like FYI. Like, and then they'll do it on purpose. They'll fucking put me in the
Right.
fucking
Yeah.
bridal thing. And I'm like, I fucking told you. I don't do this shit. You know how many stripper fucking bachelorette parties I've avoided? I've never been to a bachelorette party. And the one bachelorette party I went to
Hmm.
was my cousin who's gay who got fucking married. Of course I'd have to go to his, right? Like I didn't go to my own cousin's fucking bachelorette parties, but I was like, I'll go to a gay one.
Right. Right. Oh
So
man.
yeah, that was like my first experience of officiating and then doing the whole
What?
bachelor. Like I didn't even have a bachelorette party, which is probably why my marriage failed. Now that I think about it.
That's wild.
Yeah.
What's the name of that? The technical term for marrying someone or
Officiant.
oh
Yeah,
officiant.
or,
Okay,
or or
okay.
a minister. Like the when I went through was called American Ministries. So technically, I'm a minister, right? Like I could
Hey, there
put
you
that.
go.
Yeah, but I was like, but I don't know if anyone wants to follow my ass because I swear a lot. I say
Right.
dirty shit. I'm a fucking pervert. Like, like I just say stupid shit sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Um. Yeah. Let's go back a little bit. Growing up, like you mentioned, bullying and stuff. Did you hang around with crowds, or you kind of stay to yourself, or what was that whole dynamic like growing up?
so in elementary school, I hung out with like, a lot of Mexicans and Asians. It was always a diverse area. And then as I got into high school, that's when everyone starts to segregate.
Hmm.
Right. And it's not even by choice, like automatic. When you go into high school, you're like, I guess I'm just going to latch onto the Asian people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's automatic. So when I was in high school, I was never accepted by the Filipinos
Hmm.
because the Americanized Filipinos were like, you don't even look Filipino. You don't even dress Filipino. You look like a fucking nerd. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then the Filipinos that came from the fucking Philippines were like,
The
you don't even
FOBs,
speak.
yeah,
Yeah, like you don't even
yeah,
speak the Tagalog. Like
yeah.
we don't claim you. Like they weren't claiming me. You know
You
what I'm
know,
saying?
we had that shit going on over here too.
That like, and now I look back, I was like, dude, I haven't been claimed since fucking then. Like my parents barely claimed me, like let alone my fucking peers. So then in high school, it was all like Vietnamese people that I hung out with. So I learned a lot of Vietnamese because I hung out with Vietnamese people. So the Vietnamese community fucking claimed me. They don't claim me
Yeah.
now because my ex-husband's Vietnamese and I divorced the whole the Vietnamese community. I divorced that shit. I was like, I'm good.
Mm.
I'm good
And
off your guys' culture. I mean, I don't hate
yeah,
them. I'm just like my ex-husband. I'm like, it's guilty by association. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like,
A lot of Vietnamese in San Jose too, right?
oh fuck, they have
Yeah,
been,
yeah,
yeah, they have
yeah,
little
yeah,
Saigon, man.
yeah,
Like it's
yeah,
fucking full of Vietnamese people. And I love Vietnamese people. I love Mexican. I love culture. I love diversity.
yeah,
But I feel like, growing up, I wasn't really necessarily a loner, but I wasn't also like in the groups. Like I still participated like
yeah, yeah.
in like becoming vice president of the freshman class. I did stupid shit like that and
Hmm.
being president of the Filipino club. Like I did shit like that, but like I didn't really have friends, like real. Like I have one friend that I still talk to, or like maybe a handful of friends that I still talk to from high school, but we don't like, let's go out and fucking kick it. Like we don't do that.
Yeah. Oh
You know what I
man,
mean?
that kind of takes me back a little bit too because when you're bringing that up, um, like yeah, I never really hu- I never really had a crowd or hung out with a certain crowd. Like I knew Filipinos, but there was that kind of that inner war between uh American Filipino Americanized Filipinos,
And
versus
Fabi
the
Filipinos.
the, the FOBs, and
Right.
then I was kind of in between because I knew a little bit from that side and then this side and then the other aspect to it too, like during high school I ended up losing my sight, and so like like who do I hang out with? Like
Right.
and like growing up early on, I had a best friend. He's Chinese, and it's my best friend till this day. And so me and him kind of hung out more or less like throughout high school, but like I didn't like I knew like I said certain
You didn't
groups
fit
here
in.
and there. Yeah, no, I didn't like you know fit in certain areas, but I didn't really have a problem too much. Like I was like, all right, cool. Like I'll just be like, I'll just be one of that dude that just hung out with everybody, regardless of what
Who
color.
they
You know what
are.
I'm saying?
Right, right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Like everyone knew who you were because they were like,
yeah,
oh, this
yeah,
guy just like he knows everybody. It's not like
yeah,
a big old deal. No,
yeah,
I'm with you on that. Like, and I feel like uh a lot of comics didn't fit in when they were in high school. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Because you don't see jocks and cheerleaders doing comedy. Like, oh yeah, it's me, Italian. Like you don't see that shit. You know what I mean?
and
And I
and
feel
you know
like
what?
that's
And I like prior to doing comedy, I was a DJ, or I'm still is, but
you still DJ.
yeah, and that's
Nice.
how I got into like DJing. Like DJing kind of brought everything together. Like, all right, I did like a bunch of like a gang of Filipino parties back in the day, and house parties and stuff. And
Oh, so that's when they accepted you when you became a DJ.
yeah, yeah, I know, right? Like, hey, bring the music now.
I know. They're like, all right, you cool, man. You cool,
Yeah,
man.
you cool now.
And they're like, oh, Manong over
Yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah. I
You need the
know.
music too.
Yeah, and but yeah, man. So like, yeah, that was kind of one of my other passions is like DJing too. So yeah.
Yeah, that's dope. I mean, I feel like that's what Philippines breeds. They breed like nurses and DJs and like
Yeah.
b
For-
boys and beat girls, and singers and shit.
yeah, yeah.
Like that's what I feel like. Filipinos are known for. And that's the new joke that I kind of was able to make in my new set. But then this bitch fucking kept saying, like, she kept feeling sorry for me and she kept like talking, like, well, not really talking, but like responding. But it was cute. Like,
Right, right.
she was playful.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like that was I made that joke that night where because we were all having a conversation and I was like, fuck, I'm gonna write that down. So I wrote it down and I was like,
Yeah, I
I don't
remember
like,
that. Yeah,
yeah, I
I
was like, I
remember
don't
that.
like being Filipino. Now that I think about it, I don't like being Filipino because I was never accepted by either one. And when I said that I don't like being Filipino, that girl was like, and I was like, are you Filipino? And she's like, no. I was like, what the fuck you saying all for then? I was like,
Right.
why are you saying, oh, you're not even Filipino? Like, if you were Filipino, then I would be like, okay, that makes sense because you're fucking Filipino. So it was good to be able to play off her, her sounds because you
Yeah,
could say,
yeah. You know what? You got to because the, recently I made a post about crowd work and how I do it, and like when you can because pretty much if you can take it because there's that small window, and if it closes, then you
it's
got to move
done.
on. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't undo it. You got
Yeah.
to run with it. Whatever the case may be. So
Definitely addressing
yeah,
the elephant in the room, like right in the moment, being in the
yeah,
moment.
yeah,
Yeah, and I
exactly.
think those are true comics.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
really feel like those are true comics where they can like address something that's happening in the room and then boom, go back into their set.
yeah.
Some
Yeah.
people lose their shit, and you're like, "Fuck, dude."
Oh
Like
yeah,
what?
yeah. No, for sure, for sure. Definitely that definitely can happen. And with me, like the interesting thing about with me is that um I'm a little bit obviously in a disadvantage. So it could go bad or left one way or the, or the
Yeah.
other.
So far, it's been
uh
good though, right? It's
yeah,
been good.
yeah. So
Yeah.
far it's been good,
You
but
haven't gotten jumped yet, thank
yeah.
God.
Oh man, it's crazy. Okay, and going into your your comedy career early on, you said you hit the ground running by what like 4 years in, right around there. You
Yeah.
you think?
Yeah. I hit it where I wasn't filtering stuff about my personal life as much anymore. And I was grinding and doing more shows, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I
Yeah.
was like, fuck it. I mean, what have I got to lose? My job, but I still was working, until 11 years later, I fucking lose my job. And I've never lost my job. I've never been fired in my life.
Mm.
So that was like a turning point in my life. Like I was like, all right, I'm gonna talk shit about my life. Like I'm
Yeah.
gonna do that. And then once I went through my third divorce, I was like, because I never talked about work. And everyone kept asking me because I work a lot. Like I'm in the financial industry, and a lot of people were like, "Why don't you talk about work? I've been to your shows." I'm like, because I don't want to get fired.
Yeah.
I need my fucking job to still be able to do comedy. Like people
Right.
don't understand that, and it fucking bugged the shit out of me because you know I was in the financial industry for 16 years, right? Like I was
Oh,
in banking. That's what I did. I started from the bottom. I was creating debit cards all the way up to fucking doing mortgages. I was a branch manager. I did
what?
all that fucking shit.
Start from the bottom.
Now I'm
Now we're
here,
here.
right? Yeah, I was fucking proud of myself. And
Yeah.
during that whole time, 16 years, okay, by the time I was like 11 years of being in the comedy industry, my parents just always introduced me as the fucking comedian.
Yeah. Yeah.
My
Yeah.
family would be like, the comedian. This is the fucking comedian. She's the comedian. My cousins, everyone, this is the comedian. And then the moment I
Yeah.
lost my job, my fucking parents introduced me as she's unemployed. What the fuck?
Mm.
I was like, what happened to being a comedian, mom? Like, I just, it
Yeah.
breaks my heart that like, Filipino cultures like that. They like will say
Very
exactly
blunt.
what's on their fucking mind.
Yeah. It's very blunt, and it's like it's the double edge
Oh,
sword.
100%. It's
Yeah.
it's like a
Yeah.
passive aggressive insult. Like it's a
Yeah.
backhanded comment
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
oh, you look great, but you're gaining a little weight. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, in front of your face. Yeah.
Oh, right, yeah, yeah, in front of your fucking face.
Yeah,
And some
man.
cultures are so surprised. They're like, they say that. I'm like, dude, every time, every fucking family gathering, like
Yeah. My
it's like,
mom my mom used to say to her grandkids, like I have nieces and nephew, like she'll say to the girls like, "Oh, you're fat. You're getting you're gaining a lot of weight. You're."
yeah, yeah. Yeah, your jeans don't fit you anymore. Like, what is that coming out of your
Yeah.
pants? And I feel like in the Filipino culture, we sexualize. In the Latin culture, I feel like they sexualize and they're open about it. Like you see their fucking newscasters showing your tits and shit like that. But like in the Filipino culture, they don't do that on media. But like our family, like I'm realizing that now. Like growing up, my mom's like, oh, you know what? That makes her boobs look so big. Oh, that makes her butt so nice. I'm like,
Yeah,
mom, what
yeah,
the
yeah.
fuck? She's like 10. Like,
Yeah,
stop. Like, you know what I
yeah.
mean? And it's normal. Like, it's not like it's any like thing where we're like trying to like, oh, groom our children. It's not like that. It's like that's just
No.
how our culture is. Like we
It,
we are open about our sexuality. You know what I
yeah,
mean? We're open about
exactly.
like our feedback. But this generation where we're at, we're like, oh, we're a little bit smarter than that. I don't think we're gonna call our kids fat. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
No, man, shit. Our parents would be canceled by now.
I know. They're gonna be like, we're
Uh,
unbooking them.
yeah.
Like they got the light, like shows
Yeah,
them.
right. Oh man, that's fucking crazy. um,
But I love my
n-
parents. Like, I mean,
oh
don't get
yeah,
me wrong.
heck
I feel like
yeah, heck,
Filipinos are very family oriented and we love our parents. And I think as comedians, that's where most of our fucking comedy comes from. Like,
heck yeah,
you're saying about you being blind and about your mom, and I was like,
yeah,
oh my fucking god.
yeah,
Like it just works, it just fucking works.
heck
So
yeah.
I can thank my
Um,
parents for that.
right. Yeah, no, exactly. We take a lot from our personal experience. And as comedians, we have to, and there's a lot of shit that I still have to uncover because I like recently I started incorporating my mom into my bits. Like I didn't really do that early on,
Yeah.
and so now like I'm starting to do that. Like I
I,
think eventually as I go on, probably I'll probably throw in my dad in there too because
yeah, I feel like
he's an
it's a sign
interesting
of
cat himself.
I feel like it's a sign for growth. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean? Like being
yeah,
able to target a market, and I love that when we do stuff like that, it's connecting with the audience, whether they
yeah.
have parents or they don't have parents. They're like, I fucking know someone's mom
Right.
and dad that's just like that, and that's where you're able to get that laugh. Being able to
Yeah.
connect with the audience, and they're all like laughing at our humor. I mean, they're laughing at us. There's that saying, it's
Yeah.
better to laugh with them than laugh at them. I'm like, no, we're comics. You're supposed to
Yeah.
laugh at us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like we want
Ex-
you to laugh at us.
yeah.
Like,
And and I'm pretty sure you've had a bunch of these moments after the show. People come up to you and they thank you for your style of comedy. They're giving you props. I had a Filipino couple over the weekend came up to me, and they ended up liking my shit, and like they were like happy to see me up there and stuff. And I was like that made the night,
yeah,
like
by your
yeah,
people, right? By
yeah,
your
yeah,
people.
yeah,
I remember this one time. There was a room called the Swinging Door. I forget what city it's in.
yeah.
Yeah,
Swinging
shout out to
door.
the Swinging Door. It's had its ups and downs, but
Yeah,
this was
yeah,
like a long time ago. And I remember there was a group of Filipinos in there, and I used to do a bit where I opened up with the Filipino accent, and then I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I don't talk like that. Well, that fucking group of Filipinos were like obviously like real Filipinos, and they did not fucking laugh. They were like, who the fuck is this kid? Like, whose kid is
Yeah.
this? Come get your motherfucking kid. Or well, it was more like, someone come get their daughter. Whose daughter is this? Like, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like,
Throw a
go get.
slipper. Where's the
I know
slippers?
where's the chinelas?
Where's the belt?
And I felt bad. And then from then on, I always had that feeling. I was like, man, they still don't fucking claim me. Like, they,
Right. Oh man.
but I love Filipinos. I love Filipinos. I just feel like growing up, I was never accepted. I mean, till this day, I still feel like they're like, oh, in the my family in the Philippines are like, oh, she's not really Filipino, she's American. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right,
And then the
right.
Americans here, they're like, oh, she's not even really that American.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, what are you?
Yeah, and I wasn't born here either, which fucks it up even more because I was born in Japan. So they were like,
Yeah.
oh, so you're not Filipino? I'm like, no, I'm Filipino.
Yeah,
They're like,
yeah.
but you're born in Japan? Like, yeah, I have to fucking explain it all the time. It's like
I
a
know
bit.
it's like fucking 30 minutes.
Yeah, and I'm like, can I'm at McDonald's. I'm like, can you just give me my food?
Yeah. Right, right. Um okay, and so uh your voice. Let's tap into that. Because you do mention that in your stand up. How was working on that bit, and how did people like react to your voice, because it's very distinct. Like
Right, right.
what's the story like behind that?
So growing up, my voice has always been pretty like bassy, I guess. And
Hmm.
so people would tell me like, "Oh, it's because you smoke." And I'm like, "No, it's not." Because my cousin who looks like me, sounds like me, fucking health nut, like super healthy. So shout out to my cousin Athena. She's a fucking health nut. Sounds like me, looks like me, way more fit than I am, but she does not smoke. And so when people tell me that, I'm like, I know that's not it. This is the fucking genetics. I mean, the smoking
Hmm.
probably adds a little bit more bass, like
Right,
just
right.
a little bit more hoarseness, a little bit more like rat poison in the voice. Um,
Yeah.
and I would always be mistaken as a dude on the phone. And then at the drive through the
Hmm.
intercom, they would be like, "Sir, sir," or like, "Oh, thank you, sir." And I'm like, "Dude, I'm not a fucking sir." And
Yeah,
they're like,
yeah.
so I get the struggle of not being identified as my pronoun. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I get that fucking struggle.
Yeah.
And my mom has the same struggle, but she's a smoker too, but she has a pretty deep voice too. So
Hmm.
it's like having a mom with a deep voice and a dad with a deep voice. Like I just they had a fucking demon. Like
Yeah,
their
yeah.
child's voice was like a demon. And I just thought, I like to self-deprecate. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start talking about my voice because that's how I come up with my material. Like
Yeah,
just talking about it like this, with other
yeah.
comics, with family members, with friends, with coworkers. And the moment they start laughing, I'm like, I'm gonna make a note of that. And
It,
then I keep
it
talking
works.
about it.
It
Yeah, I
works.
keep
Yeah.
talking about it and talking about it, and then boom, I'll bring it to the crowd, and then boom, I'll get the laugh. I'm like, all right, putting that in my back pocket. Like
Yeah.
that's a joke I'm keeping.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, my ex-husband, I actually made it. I don't use this joke enough, but when I married him, the reason why I tell people why I married him is because I finally found someone whose voice that was just as deep as mine,
Yeah.
but he screamed like a girl. So like he screamed like a high pitched like
Yeah.
horror scream girl, like
Right.
scream queen. And
Yeah.
when I scream, it's not even like a scream, it's more of like a like I
Yeah.
can't even explain it. Like it sounds like a fucking ship rolling by. I don't know. Yeah, so I just keep I just keep using it because I feel like I'd rather make fun of myself than somebody else. You know what I mean?
Right, right, right.
Like
Attack it head
attack.
on.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. I just don't. I'm too nice of a person, and I feel like with the Filipino culture, Filipinos are fucking one of the nicest people that you'll ever meet. But they will talk shit to your face. But they're still like one of the nicest people you'll ever
And
meet.
behind too. Yeah.
Yeah, and behind your back too. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you can trust us because we're hard workers. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
we'll nurse you back to health. We'll play music for
Exactly.
you. We'll sing to you. We'll do
Yeah.
all that shit. Like,
We're entertained for you and then talk shit.
yeah, yeah. We'll make you laugh and cry.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my god.
So I like that you pointed that out because it's probably the first podcast I have ever done where someone was like, "Let's talk about your voice. Let's
Yeah.
dissect that."
No, it's very interesting, and I like how you brought that up, because it goes to show you that you can go up there and poke fun at yourself, because
Right.
if we don't poke fun at ourselves, then why are we doing
What
comedy?
we're doing.
Yeah.
Well, and I have a question for you. Okay, is it one thing when like you're poking fun at yourself, right? Because this is how I am. Like, it's one thing
Hmm.
if I poke about myself, but then the moment someone like makes fun of me, I'm like, wait, that hurt a little bit. Like, I was like, wait, is that true?
Yeah, yeah.
But if it's
It,
funny enough, I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna use
yeah.
that.
That one kind of stings right
I know, I know.
there.
I know you can do roast because I seen your roast battles. You were fucking fire on that battle that I saw with Abraham, I think is his name.
Branches, yeah,
A
yeah. You said
branches, a
okay,
branches. And
yeah.
I was just like, damn, I can't do that. I can't do that. So I wanted to know with you, like when it comes to like when comics or non-comics, like your family members, and they
Hmm.
talk shit, like does it hurt you a little bit? Like, I'm curious coming from a man's perspective as a comedian.
You know what? It's interesting because when it's not like when it's not your friends or people that you fuck with, like on a
On a
daily
joking
basis,
manner.
yeah, like it seems like it's more personal when it comes to
Right.
like your
Sure.
family. But like, oh, where did that come from? Like, you've been
Yeah.
harboring that feeling for years. Oh,
Yeah, that's
okay.
kind of like your set when they wanted to jump you, right?
Yeah, yeah,
You're talking shit. You're like, what?
yeah.
How
But
passionate do you hate Chris Rock or
I,
hate me
I,
now?
I know,
Like,
right? Like, or how do you how passionate do you hate blind people?
I know, right?
Stevie Wonder, Ray Charles.
Right.
No, but you know
There-
what? Like poking fun at myself. Um, I don't mind. Like like for example, like sighted people or other people that um make joke about my blindness.
Yeah.
But there's times where like like okay, dial it back, bro. Like
Yeah, that
you're
was a little
going,
over the top.
yeah, like
Yeah.
and you know what? It's not even so much that if it stings or not. I think they're just like, okay, you're just dragging this on way too long. Like, okay, we
Right.
get it. Like the first 15-20 seconds was cool, but the last 10 minutes of just staying on
Of
the
the
same
same shit.
subject.
Yeah.
Like, come on, bro.
The same shit. No, and I'm glad you brought that up because I run a room. I run a room in downtown San Jose, and it's an open mic, a weekly open mic, and a monthly showcase.
Yep.
And I recently had to 86 a comic.
Mm.
And the reason being was because the owners, they're like an LGBTQ plus, right? And they don't
Yeah.
discriminate. They show love. They're
Right.
they're open about disabilities and things like that. And so
Yeah.
like they they've had a couple of conversations with me as the host, as the producer, saying like, do you want us to talk to the comic, or do you want to talk to them? And I always feel like it's my place,
Hmm.
right? Because I'm the one producing it. The comics is my family, right?
Right. Right.
So I feel like it's my place. And I've had a couple of talks with a couple of comics, and one of them was like, fuck that, fuck that. I don't want, no one fucking wants me. I'm never fucking going there again. And I'm like, all right, man. Like, I'm just saying, like, and how the owners, brought it up to me was like, one time, like, it was cool, like the audience was laughing, but the second time it just seemed a little bit more hateful, right?
Ah.
Towards the LGBTQ plus community, right? That was
Right.
the first
Right.
comic, but he didn't get 86. They were just like, do you want us to have the, so I had the conversation with him, and then he warmed up about it, and then he came back, with the same fucking joke, but he changed it, right?
Oh.
And I was
Okay.
like, cool, he's cool. So he got to stay. Well, another comic came through, and he was just dropping, like, he was saying the word retard. And it's like, it was
Yeah.
one thing that you say it and then come up with a clever joke, but then it's another thing when you're just like retard, 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 retard.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's like, and in his defense, he was like, well, they were laughing, and I was like, but it was more of an uncomfortable laugh at that point. Like, okay, like, we
Yeah. It was
get
that
it,
nerve. It was that nervous
it
laugh.
was a nervous laugh,
Yeah.
right? And there's no
Yeah.
punch and no
Yeah.
punch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then of course the owners had to talk with me, and then we had to light him up, right? Because
Yeah.
we're just like, all right, light his ass up, and we lit him
Yeah.
up, and then they talked to the owner, the comic talked to the owner, and I didn't know the conversation that was going down, but
Right.
then the owner had talked to me already, so then I'm talking to the comic in the venue, right? And then our voices are getting raised, and he was like, "No, no, if it's just a joke, and if like people can't take my joke, then it's fine." And I was like, "No, I get that, but usually at the establishment, like they have a certain respect for the people that come in here, okay?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so if they're disabled, you know what I'm saying? If
Yeah.
they're LGBTQ plus, whatever, like those are the types of things that we have to have respect for. The venue, you know what I mean?
The
Like,
house basic house rules.
right, it's house
Yeah.
rules. Like, and if it's a dive bar, if it's your fucking, do whatever the fuck you want. Because I'm not
Yeah.
gonna say that if I'm producing a show at a different place, I'm not gonna say that they can get away with that. Like, I am gonna say that they can get
Yeah.
away with it because it's a different spot.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I agree with them. Like, I'm not saying, like, but I'm a comic and I get it. We're here to make
Right.
people laugh. So by the end of that argument, we end up going outside and we're talking or whatever, and then me and the comedians kind of came to agreement. We're like, we get it. And I was like, I just want you to know, it's not coming from me. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
coming from the spot. But at the same time, like, we also want to see jokes. We also want to hear blah, blah, blah. He's like, well, they were laughing. And I'm just like, anyways, it's neither here nor there. You've been 86 from the place. And then he was like, that's cool, fuck this place, I don't want to fucking go here. And then
Yeah.
when I talked to the owner, I was like, what happened? And the reason why she 86 him was because she was like, you're not even listening to what I'm trying to tell you. So, and that's
Right.
another thing, right? As a comedian, you got to respect the house, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
they mind you, this is an open mic, but when you get booked for the showcase, you get paid. Now you are working with them. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And that's the goal. That's the goal that I want to do in the comedy scene. Like, I want comics to get paid for their work. You know, I want comics to know that they're valued, and also that we're working on our shit. That's why we do these open mics.
Yeah.
And I always have to do a disclaimer. You know, a lot of the stuff you may not think it's funny, but you know, this is an open mic. So if you think you can do it, get the fuck up here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've had people do that. They're like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna go up there," and then and they bomb. You know what I mean? You're like, "Yeah, it's not so fucking easy now, is it?"
Wow, that's interesting. Is that a newer comic or was it
um, I would
out of
say,
curiosity? Yeah.
yeah, I would say maybe like 3 to 5 years in, maybe 3 to 5 years in.
Oh, okay.
But I know they started before the pandemic, so maybe
Okay.
like 4 years in or
Yeah.
five, yeah. And but they're like, I don't know if you have the same scene out there in the Central Valley area, but you know, you have those comics that just don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like, they don't give a fuck. They'll fucking say what's on their fucking mind, whether it's funny or not. They're gonna fucking spit it out. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they have their jokes too. They have their fucking funny ass jokes. Um, but like sometimes it just gets too much where you're like, damn, okay, well, what? Where's the joke?
Right. Right.
Like, is this a PSA? Because it sounds like it's a fucking PSA. Like, one of his things. I don't think he's gonna listen to this, but I'm not gonna say his name either. But
Yep.
during his set, he goes, "If I had a baby, he'd be." He didn't say this word. He'd be mentally disabled. Like, that was like his bit. Like, if I had a kid, he would be mentally
What the
disabled.
heck?
But he didn't use that word, those words,
Right.
right? He used a different word. He was like, he'd be so da 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 da, and just
Yeah.
kind of like went into it. And we're just like, well, that's probably why you don't have kids. I'm just kidding. Like, that's what I was saying in my head. And then once he just kept saying that word, I was like, I wasn't hosting, but I was there. And I'm glad I stayed because I just had this feeling I should stay because I'm
Yeah.
trying to get the room running on its own, right? Like, I wanted my goal is to create a machine where it's like, okay, I don't have to be there. I'm still producing and I can have someone host. Well, I'm
Yeah.
glad I stayed because it was the first night that host was hosting. And then he did it. And he's just standing there like, what do I do? What do I do? Like, like, and he's like looking at me, and I'm looking at the owner, and the owner just shook her head, like did the like neck thing, like cut him
Yeah.
off, you know? And
Yeah.
so then I looked at him and I was like, light him up. And he lit him up. And he's like, well, I guess that's all my time. I guess because, I said retard. Like, he kept saying it. And I'm just like, bro, like
Chill. Chill.
stop.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Yeah. But these
Oh.
are also comics who complain in social media game that say like, I don't get booked. And I'm nobody. You know what I mean? I'm nobody. But to me, the best advice I could give comics is, if you want to get booked, how about we start working on our own jokes? Like, you can use the same joke, but change the word. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
like I feel like you don't have to drop the F bomb. But if that's part of your character, then that's part of your character. Go ahead, Ruck, and own that shit.
Yeah.
Own that fucking shit. And I think that's what they're doing. They're owning it, but they're not at that level where it's like I'm not willing to fucking sacrifice my comedy. And it's not like you're giving up who you are. It's just maybe sometimes catering to your audience. At least that's what I feel like. It's reading the crowd. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Type of
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah. There's different aspects to it that we still have to figure out, or
Yeah. And I'm
if
I'm in it too. I'm in it too. But if I can go through my whole comedy career without saying that word,
hmm
like, I'm pretty sure you can too. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like,
yeah,
like
exactly.
yeah, like one of the comics, the one that actually changed his material, he came and did a show, and then and I this was my issue. I said it because I already know how the venue is, right? And so he goes, I'm so high right now, I look jap-eyed. And I was like, no. And I took him to the side and I was like, hey man, that might be a little bit like old fashioned, and I'm going about this wrong by telling you that it hurts my feelings. But I'm telling you, like, maybe you can try something else, because I know that people in there are going to be offended, and we're going to offend people all the time, and you can take it as it is. You can do the joke anytime you fucking want, but I'm just saying, at this spot, I don't want it to get to a point where you get 86th. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
Like, and it's so like Pearl Harbor, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
really, really. So he came back the next time, right? And this is the comic I was talking about. He's like, when he came back, he was like, I'm so high right now. I had to put dental floss to blindfold myself. Like, boom, okay, that's clever. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
he was able to redeem himself, and I have so much respect for that comedian, um, because he's able to find humor also in tragedy, and then also take constructive criticism.
Yes, yes.
I feel
Facts.
like that's where comics kind of lose it. Like, I'm not gonna fucking change my set. I'm like, you don't have to change it. You can do that same set somewhere else, but obviously here it's not gonna be accepted. And then I'm glad I said something, because a couple of days later I got feedback from a person who didn't go to the show but had friends that came to the show, and they were offended because they were Asian. They weren't Japanese, but they were Asian. And what I feel like the root of that, of the offense, is like, okay, racism is funny, right? But
Mhm.
growing up Asian, it wasn't as funny, only because, unless you can wrap it and make it into a joke. If you can make it in a joke, great, you're smart,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
But
yeah.
the fact that we were bullied so much, and we were automatically identified as Chinese or Japanese. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter what type of Asian you were. And I think that's where it stems, where I'm so offended, because like I was bullied all the time, and people are like, "Oh, you're Japai. Oh, look at you, Japanese, Jap. You know what I'm just like,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, well, first off, I growing up, I was like, I'm not Japanese, but okay, but it was still being bullied.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just felt never accepted. So that's where it kind of hit me. And I was like, look, you can do that joke anywhere else. I don't care. You can do the fucking improv. I don't fucking care. But I'm just letting you know that I was offended by it. And I'm probably wrong for saying it, but I'm just letting you know that it offends me. And
Yeah.
he was like, is it because I'm not Asian? And I'm like, honestly, I think that is what it is.
Well, I mean, it's your room.
Yeah.
It's your house rules. I
Well,
think
yeah,
people,
and I didn't make it seem like go change your bid. I was just like, hey, it kind of
yeah,
offended me, because that hit my heart, where I was like, dude, people used to call me that all the time, and now here you are
right.
fucking calling yourself that. Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't funny to me, but I was like, it was funny to other people. People who weren't Asian were the ones laughing.
Right, right, right.
So now to me, I'm like, okay, now we're here incorporating like that again, that segregation, that racism. Let's but if we're making fun of ourselves, it's different, I guess. I don't know. I'm not trying to get political or anything about it, but I'm still human. I still have fucking feelings, and I'm at the point in my life where it's like, I'm gonna tell people how I feel. Life's too fucking short, and I'd rather, as a friend, right, as a comedian, confidant, I want to be able to tell comics like constructive criticism for them to get better, and I'm trying to get better myself, right?
Right, right. Yeah.
So
No, that's a good point. I think I heard from another comic just in conversation, like I think we need that, because if you're just telling other comedians, oh yeah, yeah, you're tight all the time,
oh
you're
yeah, you're
dope.
fucking great. You're fucking
Yeah.
hilarious. Yeah.
You're not, you're not gonna get any better. Like you're
Yeah.
always like in your head about it, being egotistical about it, like, oh shit, oh fuck yeah, everybody loves me, all right, shit, my shit dope.
Right.
Like,
And I
nah.
want the same thing, right? I want people to give me feedback and give me tags. And that's actually happened. Like, I love the comedy scene, especially in the Bay Area. Like, I love the comedy scene here so much. Like, shout out to the South Bay, San Jose. Like I really feel like they're my family. And for
Mhm.
once, when I started comedy, like I felt like I fit in. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and shout out to Woodham's. They had their 10-year
Woodhams.
anniversary in April, right? Shout out to
Pete
Woodham's, Pete
Munoz.
Munoz.
Yeah.
He goaded me. He gave me the 10-year anniversary goat award, and I got it with Sammy Obeid. And I was like, fuck, I don't know if I should be up there with Sammy Obeid, but they had a female
What?
and a male, right? So then they were like, best female goat is PX, and best male goat was Sammy Obeid. And I was like, fuck. And I felt
Oh
so
shit.
honored, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, it's just an open mic, but still, like, like to
It's
me, that
something,
meant
yeah.
it's
It's
something. I was
something,
like, I've
yeah.
never gotten an award for anything.
Well.
But I got it for the goat. And I was like, wait, why am I the goat? Like, I started doubting myself. I was like, why
Yeah.
did you guys give me this award? Is it because of my voice? It sounds like a goat. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, what is it? And they're just like, dude, you just do shit. You do shit in the comedy community, and you deserve it. And I'm like, thanks, man. Like,
That's
it's
awesome. That's awesome.
yeah, it felt really good. Like, I can't wait to get like, an award like in a real place. It would be kind of cool. Like,
Yeah,
what do they do? Emmys and stuff.
yeah, right.
Like,
Red carpet next.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And they actually had a red carpet that day.
Oh shit. Nice.
And it went into a dive bar, so it was hilarious. It was dope. It was cool. Good times.
Nice, nice. Yeah, we'll probably wrap it up in a few minutes here. Couple things, like, um when you got started in the scene, like, who are the people that you ran with, or still doing it, and like, what were the first rooms that you got the chance to do the mics. What rooms were those?
So I feel like I got jaded the first time I came and started doing stand up comedy because when I did SFCC, the comedy college, the first show where we graduated was at the San Jose Improv. So that was
Mm.
the first official mic. My
Oh, okay.
first official stage performance was at the San Jose Improv. So once you get a taste of that, you're
Yeah.
like, fuck. Mind you, it was a 3 o'clock in the afternoon show, and there was only 50 people at the San Jose Improv. And this
Yeah.
this spot fits like easily like 300 people, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'll take what I can get. And when I did that, when I did the SFCC, they kind of opened the door to do other places. Like the Purple
Mm.
Onion
Okay.
was one of the second spots I did, and then from then on, those comics started producing shows, and I was getting on their shows. Shout out to Gloria Magana. She's like my comedy sis. We both went to the SFCC Comedy College, and Leslie Lang. We all went to the comedy college, and we're still doing comedy till this day.
Nice.
and
Nice.
and and we're all producing, which is fucking dope, right? And we're women. We're
There.
fucking women. and
Yeah.
and I love seeing that. I love seeing women produce. I love seeing women be funny, because I fucking hate all the politics in the comedy scene where it's like, oh, women aren't getting booked and da 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 da. And
Right.
honestly, that's why I started producing, because I was tired of doing bringers. I was tired of not getting booked. So I started
Hmm.
producing. And so probably maybe a year into doing stand up, I started producing. And then
Mm.
from then on, I felt like that's where I learned. And I feel like that's probably one of the main reasons why I got the goat, right? Like I was
Yeah.
producing, giving people stage time, traveling to do comedy, and then just, letting people know that they're worth it. Because we know those comedians where they're like, man, I'm not getting booked, or
Yeah.
I don't get paid. And I'm like, oh, dude, don't worry, just keep doing it. You're gonna get
Right.
paid. You know what I mean? You're
Exactly.
gonna get paid.
Exactly.
And they have
And
the open micer comics, the ones that just do open mics. You know what I'm talking
yeah.
about?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I, I- for the people or the comedians that going into comedy, don't even worry about, don't even sweat the money aspect of it,
Yeah,
because
no, it's not about that.
if you're in it for the money, you might as well get out now,
uh
because that's
don't quit your day job. Yeah,
yeah,
don't quit your day
man.
job.
Yeah, man, because bro, like you just got to keep plugging away, keep grinding. Yeah, because a comedian friend I know taught me that lesson. Gave
It's
me
not
a,
about the money,
yeah,
man.
it's a exactly. He gave me words of wisdom. It's like, yo, like, you know what? Don't even sweat the money. Keep, do it for the love of it, and make people laugh and shit. And
Yeah,
all the other shit will come later.
yeah, and that's my motto now. I mean, right now I'm unemployed, but I was like, I just want to do comedy enough to pay my mortgage. Like
Yeah,
that's all I want. I want to be able to pay my mortgage, and I'll be happy. I could die a happy woman. You know what I mean? I don't need to travel anywhere. I've traveled places. I mean, it'd be nice, but you know, uh, just just keep grinding, keep
yeah,
putting in work, and everything
exactly.
else just kind of falls into place. And some people, that's why the generation, the new season of comics, it's a different generation, because a lot of them are birthed from TikTok.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially during COVID, they were like, I
Right,
can do this. They were born from like Zoom comedy shows, and they're like, I can do this. Some of them are still doing it, so more power to them. But some of
right.
them are like, I guess I'm not as funny on stage than I am on TikTok. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, man.
And well, and it's a different game now too, because yeah, with the advent of internet, um, online and social media, there's like a different avenue to kind of go into, pretty
Right. It's
much.
a
Yeah,
different
yeah.
platform to be able to reach out to people like across the world, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
no, I get it. We're so advanced, but yet not.
Yeah. Heck yeah, man. Are you familiar with Nina G?
Hmm.
Yeah.
She's actually doing a disability tour at
Yeah.
the Foxtail, I think in July. So yeah, I love Nina. I do a podcast with my neighbor. It's called Your Worst Neighbors. She was actually just one of our guests.
Nice, nice. And she actually shouted you out because
What?
yeah, because like I met Nina. I met her actually on Zoom a couple years back, but I met her for the first time last year, and then she reached out to me to do the comedians with disabilities
Yeah,
show, and I got the chance to work with her on that. And
such
how
a good
I
show.
Yeah, and how I got into the whole crazy funny Asian situation was she hit me up one day. It was like, hey yo, hit up K Chang for the hella funny Asian thing. And I was like, all right, cool. Because I've seen that around online on Facebook,
Yeah.
but I just never like. It's like, oh, that'll be interesting to kind of network and
Yeah, that's why I'm
or
surprised
jump.
when I met you, because I was like, oh shit, he's Filipino. Like, I
Yeah,
seriously love Filipino comedians because I'm like, we're the same.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so she told me to hit up K,
That
and
was
I
this
was
show right here, the one that we
yeah,
did.
yeah.
Oh,
And then
nice.
it was like, all right, cool. And so I was very appreciative and grateful for that for her to give me a plug on that. So I mean, shouts out to Nina G,
Yeah, Nina
and
G's dope.
you know she like I said, you know, she mentioned your names like, oh, you're working with great people right there, PX,
Oh, that's
Big
dope.
T, and you know, a couple people from Hella Funny. So and I
Yeah.
was like, hell yeah. So
Yeah, dude, it's you're getting in the right crowd, man. You're getting in the right crowd. The times that we didn't fit in, guess what? We're fucking fitting in now.
yeah. Heck yeah. So PX, we're probably gonna wrap it up here. What you got coming up next, and where they can find you on the socials.
Yes, awesome. So first Sunday of every month, I produce a show at the Foxtail with a weekly open mic. It's in downtown San Jose. And then every Friday, first Friday of every month, I do a show at a empanada place. It's called Casa Guzmania. It's called Comedians and Empanadas. There's no alcohol, so the audience is definitely there to listen
Mm-hmm.
when there is an audience. But that's the two shows that I'm producing right now. You can find me on pxcomedy.org. It doesn't show my shows on there because I'm just fucking lazy and I don't want shit. But you can follow me on like my Instagram. My Instagram is the most updated platform that I use. I post a lot of content, and then I also post all my shows on Instagram and Facebook, and you can find me at PX Comedy through all the platforms. PX Comedy on Snapchat, PX Comedy on Instagram, PX Comedy on YouTube, and yeah, that's where you can find me.
That's right. Go follow her, y'all.
Oh, and
Yeah.
and you're gonna be on my show coming up in July.
Oh man, I can't wait. I'm excited.
Yeah,
Fox sale,
I'm
right? Yeah.
so excited to have you, man. You have no fucking idea. I'm gonna be like, this is my brother. Like, this is
I
my
just came
brother.
from the fresh out the boat.
Yeah, his name is PU.
Yeah.
Just for the yeah.
Exactly.
Uh,
No, I can't wait. I'm excited for that. That's awesome. Thank you, thank you.
no, thank you for having me. You're so awesome, Elvin. Like, mad props to you. I can't wait to do more shows with you. And thank you for having me on your podcast.
Oh,
It was funny because your podcast is like, where's my damn podcast?
yeah,
And there was so
yeah,
many where's my podcast, but I was like, let me add the word damn. And then
yeah,
boom,
yeah.
yours is the first one that popped up.
Original.
Yeah, the original, and it's damn in it. So I like that one
Yeah, hell
better.
yeah, hell
Yeah.
yeah. Heck yeah, man. Yeah, that's right, y'all. Be sure to link with her, follow her on her social. And that's right, y'all. Where's my damn podcast? Thank you. Peace.